This PowerPoint gives an overview of F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel, The Great Gatsby. The setting. The Great Gatsby takes place in the early 1920s on Long Island, New York, in the fictitious neighborhood of West Egg, which is a wealthy neighborhood on Long Island where aristocrats come from old money live. East Egg, a neighborhood on Long Island where the new rich live, and the Valley of Ashes, a fictional poor industrial neighborhood near Queens. Tom and Daisy Buchanan are from old money and live in East Egg, while Jay Gatsby lives in his mansion he acquired with new money in West Egg. Historical and political context. The novel was published in 1925 and takes place in the early to mid-1920s. It was a time of great economic prosperity and of great political corruption. Following World War I, the young men and women who survived the war were called the Lost Generation. The Lost Generation was a term coined by author Gertrude Stein, which refers to the generation that came of age during World War I and is characterized as materialistic, emotionally detached, and morally bankrupt. World War I was a devastating war which saw massive casualties due to its use of modern warfare and trench warfare. Prohibition. Alcohol was banned in the 1920s. However, its consumption was widespread thanks to the illegal production and sale of it, which allowed the growth of organized crime led by new immigrant groups. By the end of the novel, the reader finds out that Jay Gatsby amassed his great wealth after World War I through bootlegging illegal alcohol and connections with organized crime. Wealth disparity. After World War II, President Harding's administration passed legislation that favored business and the wealthy, creating a great divide between the wealthy and the poor. Women's liberation. Another social trend in the 1920s is women became more liberated. In 1920, women gained the right to vote in the United States and rebelled against traditional restrictions on women by bobbing their hair, shortening their dresses, and throwing away restrictive corsets. As a form of liberation, many women, such as flappers, took up more manly habits such as drinking, smoking, swearing, and becoming more sexually promiscuous, and other forms of rebellion against traditional female roles of the day. Major themes. Some of the major themes to look for in The Great Gatsby are the corruption of the American dream, materialism, the decline of the 1920s, the Roaring Twenties, and the Lost Generation. The narrator. The novel is told by Nick Carraway, a naive young man from the Midwest who is befriended by his fabulously wealthy neighbor, Jay Gatsby, who hopes Nick will help him reunite with his former girlfriend, Daisy Buchanan, who is now married to Tom Buchanan and is also Nick Carraway's cousin. The protagonist. The novel's protagonist or main character is Jay Gatsby, a true romantic, born in the Midwest who is in love with the beautiful and wealthy Daisy Buchanan. When Gatsby is unable to win Daisy's hand in marriage due to his middle-class social position, he gains tremendous wealth by bootlegging illegal liquor and spends every cent trying to win Daisy back by throwing outrageously extravagant parties at his ostentatious mansion in West Egg, which he has purposely built in the hopes to win back Daisy. He is a hopeless romantic who believes in the American dream. He imagines Daisy is a pure and innocent ideal that he obsessively pursues. Daisy Buchanan. Despite her beauty and charm, Daisy is merely a selfish, shallow, and cruel woman. Gatsby loves her, or at least the idea of her, with such determination that readers would like to see her be worthy of his devotion. Fitzgerald carefully builds Daisy's character with associations of light, purity, and innocence, when ironically she is anything but innocent. She has clearly married and stays with Tom Buchanan simply for his money and family name. She has a distant relationship with her daughter, and she is incapable of loving Jay Gatsby in the way that he loves her. She is actually just a valueless and materialistic person who cares for no one other than herself, a perfect representation of the lost generation. And finally, the antagonist. Tom Buchanan is the novel's antagonist. Tom comes from old money. He is an imposing, athletic man whose wealth and power is inherited. He shamelessly cheats on his wife Daisy and is abusive and heartless towards his mistress, Myrtle Wilson.